Welcome to this Wednesday's No Bullshit Nail Club Wisdom Wednesday. Let's get into it. So the topic this week is actually a bit more, I don't want it to be a rant, but it might be a rant. So the topic is, as you've seen on the title, be teachable. What do I mean by that? What I'm saying is you're not always right. And this is a life lesson, not just a nail lesson. But this is based on years of experience, and I'm not always right. I don't always get it right. And if I get it wrong, I will hold my hands up to it, absolutely. And as humans, we should all be doing that in all situations, regardless of what that is. As you guys know, education really is my passion in the nail industry, and actually correct education. And that's why I set this group up, the No Bullshit Nail Club. It is a place for education, for questions to get answered, for your queries to be answered, and actually for the correct information to get through, which seems not to be the case in a lot of groups. There's so many nail groups on social media, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, and people are giving out information and it's wrong. There is no vetting of this information. When you ask in a group, you will get 100 people reply, and you'll probably get maybe 40-50% will be the correct answer. But it's what people think is the right answer. And when you try to educate people, or when I have tried to educate people, and when I've seen other people try to educate people and say, actually, no, this isn't quite right, or the rules have changed, or blah, 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 what you get is a lot of vitriol, a lot of negativity, and a lot of nastiness. Now, I understand that if you've been doing things a certain way for a long time, it's really hard to accept that there are different ways to do things, but we move, things change, right? So the science is updated regularly. Things in the industry will change on a regular basis. You know, what I've taught students last year is not always the same as what I'm going to teach students this year, and so forth. And as the science evolves, so should we, and so should our education. And as nail techs or beauty professionals, it's really important that we're moving with the times and we're always updating our information. I'm not suggesting that we go and do a brand new course every week, because that just isn't realistic, is it? But what we should be doing is joining different groups and looking for resources on a regular basis to update the knowledge and the existing knowledge that we already have to add to that. When I see people reply to advice that I may have given, which I do pride myself on keeping up to date with the most current information, and their answer is, let's agree to disagree, when what I'm saying is science and what they're saying is based on what they think, there isn't an agree to disagree point here. It's about perspective. And just because you learned longer ago than I did, perhaps that means that you need to now go back and update your training. Think of it in terms of years ago, people used to be prescribed cigarettes. Years ago, pregnant women used to be told to go and have a pint of Guinness for iron. These things change, and they change because the science has evolved and we know more, so we can do better. When people like me or my colleagues or other people I know go online and they try to educate people, this isn't for our benefit. This isn't because I'm trying to sell you something. It's not because I'm trying to prove I'm right and you're wrong. It is people in the industry that are educators that genuinely want to better the standard of the industry, are trying to put the correct information out there for beginners, for learners, for improvers, and for people that perhaps haven't done a course in quite a long time, or perhaps their course was substandard, and we all know that that is an absolute thing. Lots and lots of courses out there that are teaching the basics but are not teaching any science, and it's not a learner's fault that they have not learned the correct information, because you don't know what you don't know, right? But be teachable. Don't argue the point because you think you know better. How about if somebody offers an opposing view, Google it, look it up for yourself and say, okay, why is someone offering this opposing view? Why is somebody offering out something that I think is not correct? I've been taught this way. Why are they adamant in their view that this is actually the right answer? Google it. Because if the information is really, really readily available, and actually either you're right or they're right, link it back to some kind of source. But because I was taught this way, 25 years ago, you know, that's what I was taught 25 years ago is not being taught today. So really, yeah, trying to make this as least ranty as possible, because I don't want to get on the whole every single day I'm trying to tell people about lamps. I'm not going to tell you how infuriating it is. There is no universal lamp, there is no universal gel. Not all lamps work with all gels. Yes, because one looks like one that's on somewhere else doesn't mean that they're the same lamp. Just because two brands have a lamp that looks like the same lamp doesn't mean they'll both cure both of their gels. Read science. The amount of people I'm trying to educate on a daily basis that are like, no, it's all a marketing scam and it's just the brands that want you to spend £150 and I can get it on AliExpress for 20 quid. Yeah, you can get the shell on AliExpress for 20 quid, but are the bulbs correct? Is the wavelength correct? You know, there's a lot more to curing than wattage is practically no part of curing. But you know, this is a totally different rant altogether. But what I'm trying to say is, just because you think you know something, back it up, Google it, look it up. If you're unsure, ask somebody whose opinion you value in the industry. Ask them for their advice. Just because an educator told you doesn't mean it's right. I have an educator that works close to me geographically who has told all of her students that you can etch with 150 grit file, that all lamps are basically the same and you can buy any lamp for your system, and that if you are qualified in gel polish, then you can apply any gel, builder gel, hard gel, extensions, tips, even if you've not been trained with tips. So this educator is miseducating every single one of her students. So don't assume that just because someone is a teacher that they necessarily have the right information either. Who do you trust? That's a totally different issue altogether. It's very hard to know who to trust in the industry and who not to trust, but the people that shout really passionately about education are generally the ones that aren't doing it for the money. We are doing it for the love of the job. And I'm very science-led, and if any of my students are watching this, they will attest to the fact that they have to sit through basically a whole science lesson when they come and learn with me. So, you know, the whole point of this video is just to remember that you don't always know everything, myself included, all educators included. You know, our information is only as good as the most recent information and as good as kind of backing up our own knowledge, really, by constant progressive self-educating, continuing professional development. That is it. That's what I've come here to say. Be teachable, please, and it will just make the whole nail industry better, and stop all the arguments online. I did get told, because somebody's older than me this week, that I should listen to what they say even though they were wrong, but I should essentially respect my elders. That's not really how that works. I hope you have a great week. This was your No Bullshit Nail Club Wisdom Wednesday. If you're not in the group, go and join the group on Facebook. It is a small emerging group, and invite all your tech friends. Let me know in the comments what else you would like to see on these Wisdom Wednesdays, and I will see you next week. Bye for now, from my car again. Where else would I be?